Welcome to Courageous Conviction. Remember that Jeff and I record each Saturday 5 episodes. So please hit the like button, subscribe so you catch all 5 episodes. We usually start out with one theme or topic. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes to really understand it. Some things are more sensitive than others right now, what's going on in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe, and let's jump into this video.
And if that's the case, 99% people are disposable. So you can either share this beautiful planet with love and abundance and sustainability, or say it's all mine, every bit of land, every seed, every mind, because what's being mined.
See, what's been mined is not yours, it's ours, right? So gold, silver is not yours, it's ours. And then she goes into the whole idea of sustainability. So she had to throw in, we all can live together and living under sustainability. So that's the whole sustainability goals. That's the ESG. That's what BlackRock's pushing all these companies to fall in line with. You remember the whole Bud Light fiasco, that whole thing that took place there? Well, that's falling in line with the whole ESG woke agenda, right? And this is what she's portraying. So you see, we become disposable. And maybe even disposable as into concentration camps, etc., right? Even to death, because human life is not valued by these people. And I can tell you from my experience in living in Latin America, in dealing with cartels to the level, at least that we had to deal with them and to coexist and live around them, especially in Costa Rica, they don't think anything about life. The death that I was able to be around, it was incredible. It's just nothing to shoot somebody. It's just another carnage that needs to be just disposed of because they think they're better than one, right? And that's a very true fact. However, here's the hope on all this. Here's the promise on all this. And I really need to sit down. I really hope I can sit down to do a lot of these things I want to do and I'll talk about doing here. And I will. But it's just, look, just a side note, just we got this business. We came back from living in South America. We got wiped out by the whole, sickness thing. I got to be careful what I say here because I get in trouble here. Or I got slapped by YouTube once for just saying something. I wasn't even passionate on it. But I had to go back into starting a business that I had retired from just because I put everything down there and the Amazon jungle and to doing these Book of Mormon tours and these jungle tours and fish and sport fishing. And there it sits right now, right? And so I've had to come back and do other things again. And it's been tough. And so it's made it to where I can't finish my studios and get things to the level I want them at yet. It's been frustrating. And every time I try to get ahead, my house, the vehicle, something else just sucks of what I had put aside to do this stuff with right out. However, I have faith and hope that we keep pushing away, then the doors will open for us. Now, hey, let's go back to what our topic is here. Enough of me crying over spilled milk here. Zion will offer the unity that we're talking about. Zion will offer the numbers that we're talking about. I'm talking about the tent of Zion. I'm not talking about the stakes of Zion. Stakes of Zion will not hardly play any role in what I'm speaking of right now. The gathering of the tent of Zion would be determined by the constitution of both members and non-members. That's the gathering, see, of the tent. The stakes of Zion are those who are willing to come under the covenant of baptism. Very different. So the constitution is going to be defended where? Under the tent of Zion. Well, that's forming right now, my friends. That's forming right now. If we just look at it, what's filtering right now between red and blue is the U.S. Constitution. What's causing people to go red and red states and defend that red and defend that Constitution is the Constitution, right? It's that idea of freedom of many different races, colors, sex, creed, and even religions, if you will. That's the way Brigham Young said it most likely would be. Joseph said it. Brigham expounded upon it years later. We need to go into that, dig deep into those. So, what she's going to call it democracy, we really don't need to care about democracy. China claims democracy. Cuba claims democracy. Venezuela claims to be a democratic nation state. Democracy is gullible. Democracy is easy to persuade or buy the people to vote. It's the republic where the power is in the people, not in the government, where the people can go to the actual capital and express themselves in ways that you try to actually persuade your government. But the people have a right at some point, and I got to be careful here, right? Because if I go and say this right now, then I can be one of these disposables, and this is the problem. So we would do what we can do, and we got to push that envelope a little bit and take those risks. But I think everybody here knows the Constitution and what that Constitution gives us a right as a republic to do. We, the people, need to control and rule the government, not the government rule the people. That's democracy. A republic's the other way around. And we have given our republic up with a thunderous applause, quoting from Padme Amidala from Star Wars 3. This is how freedom is lost, with thunderous applause. We have given that idea up for democracy, and that's been fooling us. It's been a tool to fool us and to actually bring us, to trip us up and pull us off balance. Now, it's funny because I studied playing a little bit in Aikido, and I love the Aikido. I'm not very good at it, but I love the fact that in Aikido, a lot of things you do, a lot of moves you're doing, you just pull the person off their center line, just a little off balance, and you can manipulate their body completely for that moment that you can keep off balance. So everything in it that I had learned was related to pulling them off balance. Now, without pulling yourself off balance or being outmaneuvered by somebody stronger than you, right? So there's ways to do it where you're using their force against themselves, pulling that center line just off balance enough to where you can manipulate their body into all this kinesiology, how it moves, and actually pin or cause pain to put somebody in a locked position where you can escape or get away. I like that idea. Everything moves, right? It all gets, you hit some point, pull off balance, and you are easily manipulated. It's the same thing happening to us today. We're being tripped off balance both in and out of the church, and we're being manipulated. And I think that I personally feel we're fumbling the ball a lot with a lot of our leaders right now in the church, because they're being caught up in this whole democracy idea, this whole quantum theory idea of this teddy bear Jesus of all inclusiveness. Now, we heard Elder Cook talking in general conference, said, look, hey, yeah, everybody's invited, but it doesn't mean that you just stay that way. You need to live the standard. And we as a church are not even talking about the standard anymore. We're kind of backed away from it a lot, just trying to kind of make commandments principles now. We just kind of fill the principles to live in that standard, that commandment. The Lord's going to correct that. And there's a reason for it. I think we're fumbling a little bit right now, but I know the Book of Mormon's true. I know our leaders are called of God, and I know our leaders have their own opinions and their own agendas, and they think certain ways. And my dealings with these leaders in the past is sometimes you just need to be called out by the people and said, hey, what about these doctrines that we were taught before, right? And we do need to know those doctrines before. I already get irritated. We don't need to know that stuff. Well, if we don't need to know it, then why do we keep it? Why don't we just throw it all away? We need to know it because over time, as Elder Oaks taught, doctrines are taught by the general authorities of the church. So it takes time. We got to go back and look at all the different talks to establish whether that's doctrine or opinion today. And I'm sorry, but a lot of opinion is taught at the pulpit, and you can find talks on that by the same general authorities saying, hey, not everything that's taught here is doctrine. There's a lot of well-intended opinion here. Well-intended. Listen to it. But it doesn't mean it's right, and it doesn't make it doctrine. In my church, my ward, we sit around and talk about every church talk as if it's doctrine. In fact, I heard one quoted on Sunday, visiting a different ward, from a 70 general authority that I worked with during the lockdowns. And I personally know that he is missing a lot in understanding the church doctrine. Very tyrannical approach to things during the whole process of the jab and so forth. And he and my stake president and myself went back and forth on a few occasions. And they even came to a point where they said, we were wrong on that. That's not what the Lord wants. Thanks for bringing that to attention. We went back, and the Lord doesn't want us to do this now. So they fumbled the ball. They made mistakes. And so you just have to accept that, get over that, and accept that they don't have a crystal ball. They're going to do the best they can do, but we also have to do our homework. We can't just go along and conform If we just conform, that kills our desires to want to become our potentials. And that's a true fact. Let's finish this video. Walter, go ahead.
Is our mind now. And if we don't defend the freedoms of all species and the freedoms of all human beings, we could see within 20, 30 years, a level of disposability built into the structures that humanity will not be able to respond to. So this is the time to make oneness and interconnectedness as one humanity on one planet the political project of our times.
So repeat
we have to remember we are one humanity. We are part of one earth. And whatever we do, we will not let this basic recognition divide us, either from the earth or from each other. And together we are strong.
Okay, Walter, let's stop that. Now, what I like about that last part is the fear in that. Look how it mirrors and how Satan mirrors what we're being currently taught right now in the church as well. That we all need to get along. We all need to love one another. We need to be one. We can't be divided. We need to be united. That's a true principle, right? But look at also how society takes the Christian teachings and uses that to lead Christians and Christianity down a wrong path. In other words, if you're not stoic, we're not stoic about these doctrines, these principles that we live, and we allow this form of coercive government, and I'm going to use coercive in a strong way, but they do it through this persuasive technique. They hold us, they coerce us, and they obligate us. And at the same time, they persuade us by lying to us. So not persuading on its true basis merits of persuasion, right? Where we get to choose, we see everything, the facts laid out. They lay out one side of facts, or should say, they lay out their story, which most of it's not true. And that is what you're given and you're told to receive. And if not, then shame on you. Or even if you go too far to rebel against that, then you are a problem to society. Now, where are we going to escape this at? Where do we think this at? Look at Nikola Tesla says here. Though free to think and act, we are held together like stars in the firmament with ties inseparable. These guys cannot be seen, but we can feel them. We are all one. One earth. Hey, is all this stuff reason? Or should say it almost wants to reason in my soul, like, hey, this should have a point. And you can almost say, well, maybe we do need to abandon these extreme LDS mooring lines, if you will, or even extreme Christian. Like, for example, well, maybe we should give in to let people have complete freedom in their body, and then abortion, we shouldn't stand up for that, right? We shouldn't even stand up against anything as LGBTQ. We should just allow that to take place, let them be sealed in the temple, and let God figure it out in the end, right? That's the way that they want us to go. That's the way they're going to take our religion from us, is by convenience and complacency, is by a bleeding heart, is by not being stoic in our religious beliefs and practices. Well, courageous conviction. Put your comments down below, please. Like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on this video and what I just explained? See you in the next video.